We're live. All right, guys, welcome back. Another Fight Move Flow Live Wednesday, episode number 6. Today we're going to be talking about the difference between training in nature versus the gym, okay? Or just the difference between nature and the gym, whether you're training or not. So we're going to have Recon John joining us again in just a second. Welcome in, comment below when you join, say hi, and we'll get started in just a sec. And if you guys have any questions throughout the live, or even if you're just watching the replay after, just comment below and we'll answer them either live or after in the comments. Cool. All right. All right. There we are.
What's up?
Okay.
Here we are,
Jungle of Colombia.
live from the
Love it.
jungle, baby. Had some little run around here, some technical things, and now we're technically here, technically talking.
Yeah.
The internet's technically working, technically transmitting from San Rafael, Antioquia, Colombia, from La Vereda del Arenal. Beautiful air. You can hear the birds. Do you hear the birds?
I hear the birds. I hear the wind.
We got birds, and we have children, the sounds of children, great children, wonderful. Also, I set up my whole area, and I stepped away for a minute. I set everything up, everything was perfect, and I stepped away, and they were all there sitting in my seat, eating ice cream. I didn't have the heart, of course, to tell them to move, so I moved my stuff. So that's why this is at 2:36.
All right.
That's jungle time, baby. That's jungle time. With the heart wide open.
On jungle time. That's it.
Found my optimal spot with my optimal internet, and we're good. We're good.
Dude, I just realized we're a month out.
We are a month out. We're a month out, and so cutting to a certain chase, I think it's worth mentioning now that we have this fast mover advantage for those who are interested in the Fight Move Flow.
Fast action mover.
There it is, fast action mover. That's it.
Same difference.
Yes, so you probably remember better what they would receive in addition to what a normal...
Yeah, so if you sign up for the newsletter, I just sent out a reminder for you guys, sign up for the newsletter. But yeah, basically, we got about an hour left before we start the next or the last of the 3 prep sessions. So we're doing some prep sessions for the retreat, so you're ready to go by the time you get to the retreat. You're already comfortable, and just getting those bases covered, so that way you're not coming to the retreat completely fresh, completely, beginner. You're going to cover some bases that will help you be prepared for the retreat. So when you sign up in the next hour, we're going to have 3 of those live prep sessions, and then you're going to get an integration call after the retreat. These are both group-based, so they're going to be group sessions live on Zoom, and then we're going to have a group integration call after the retreat. So those are just some of the bonus perks you'll be getting. So you got about an hour left. We start the prep session at 3 p.m. Mountain time, 4 p.m. Colombian time.
4 p.m. here.
So yeah, sign up before then to get those bonus perks.
What's up, Caesar?
If you have any questions. All right, guys. Here we are.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So, episode number 6. We're talking about the difference between nature and the gym.
Yeah, that's the more compromising or charitable or more cooperative or more compassionate communication version of it. Another way to say that is, why is nature better than the gym? I'm in a confrontational mood today. I'm ready for the fight before the move and the flow. Why is nature better than the gym? So why did we choose this? Of course, the gym's great. I spent many years training people in the gym. Nate still does. The gym is where it all happens for large portion of humanity as far as movement goes, and it's definitely a better thing to have than nothing, for sure, right? And it also enables programming in a way that's difficult, actually, in nature for a lot of people in a lot of environments. Here, I happen to be lucky with so much complexity and so much different complexity in my environment to be able to program things. But somebody who lives in like a flat, like plains, for example, or lives in the desert, it could actually be hard to program, all the domains of natural movement living in some of those places if we don't have a gym or some kind of dedicated space, right? But why is nature better than the gym? I have lots of thoughts about that. What's a kind of beginning thought from you on that, Nate? What do you think about that?
Well, we could just start with the environment aspect of movement training. Just talking about the difference in the environments of being indoors with artificial light, artificial weather or temperature, artificial surfaces, artificial objects, versus being outside where there's natural air, natural light, natural temperature, weather, natural objects, natural surfaces. Just the difference in those things, and obviously there's more not coming to the top of mind right now, but just the difference between an artificial environment and a natural environment. If you're training in a gym, you're going to have perfectly flat grounds, perfectly balanced weights, perfectly soft floors, perfectly, lit areas and temperature. You can adjust. It's 1 degree too hot when you turn it down. So everything is artificially perfect, quote unquote. It's easy, So you get that if you're lifting weights, for example. That's what most people do at the gym. They start with the strength foundation, and so they're lifting weights in a perfectly artificially curated environment. But then you go out to the real world, and how does that apply?
Yeah.
How does that PR of bench pressing apply to lifting up your kid or playing with your kid in nature, or climbing a tree to get a coconut, or
Yes.
running away from danger or anything like that?
So I have I'm gonna feel into possibly some members of our potential audience here. And I agree with everything you say. And I don't know if that will land home for everybody. I know why you say that, and I agree with that totally, right? I don't know that everybody is on the same page in that understanding of that artificial is necessarily not as good as natural. I understand that because I look at things from an evolutionary point of view, right? And, well, lots of other reasons. So I agree with all of that. And for me, in talking about this, I would probably, if I'm not talking with people who are like MoveNet, like hardcore MoveNet people who already get that, I would probably save talking about environmental complexity as a big thing for last. just personally for talking to people who don't know so much about movement, right? So I agree. I totally agree with you. And so I agree with all that. And I wanted to share some things that that are kind of moving into the zeitgeist right now, and the cultural zeitgeist, like what everybody's talking about and thinking about, and lots of people are starting to like wake up to and be like, oh shit, like I didn't think about that. I didn't know that that mattered. And they're starting to open up to evolutionary thinking and considering like, okay, well, if our ancestors did it for 2 million years and we've only done it for 100 years or maybe 50 years for some people,
Right.
maybe what we think is normal is not normal. Maybe what we think is normal is really, 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 really weird for our biology, for our physiology, for our psychology, right? So that's where I totally agree with what you're saying, right? And I want to give some specific, bring up some specific points and not go deep into it, but point people maybe in directions where they can look for those who weren't already up. Some people will be up to one or two of these things, and some people will be up to all five, and some people will be up to way more than I'm going to mention here. But I want to just bring up a quick 5 things that that seem to be getting more play lately in the kind of fitness slash human slash self optimization slash personal development scene right now, let's say, right? And those 5 are microbiome, 1, earthing slash barefoot training, 2. That's, that's, people have been talking about these things for a while, but they've been pretty niche until very recently, I'd say, right? 3, sun exposure, right? Which until very recently, most people just thought was like bad for you and going to give you cancer, and you need to put a bunch of chemicals on that are going to give you cancer so you can protect yourself from the thing that's going to make you healthy.
I was literally just having this conversation yesterday with someone who was afraid of the sun, thought they were going to get too much. I was like, oh my goodness.
Right. But I think there can be too much, right? But that's another conversation. But I think there's something about pendulums too. You can think about it like that, right? Like sometimes the pendulum
Most
goes,
people are definitely too little.
Too little, yeah. And another one is like they call it sometimes forest bathing, nature bathing, which is quite good as an idea. All these things, notice they're all isolated. It's this one thing. You got this one problem, and this one thing is that's what you need. That's it. And that's good, actually, for a lot of people who aren't ready to just, strip off their clothes and go run around in the wilderness barefoot. Okay. If you want to strip off your clothes and run around in the wilderness barefoot, fight, move, flow. Although you don't have to go that far. You could just do fight, move, flow, and wear your shoes and wear all your clothes too, and still come to fight, move, flow, and get your little pieces. That'll be good too. And the final one is cold immersion. And then the overarching, and there's more, but we'll just keep it simple, right? 5. Okay. And then the overarching theme there, which is exactly what you said. So I totally agree with you again, is that idea of natural environmental complexity, right? That we evolved for as human beings, that we would not be alive if our ancestors had not gone through all of that. And that just if you take a zoo animal, no, correction, I apologize. You take an animal and you put this animal in the zoo, female, male, whatever. You put this animal in the zoo. There's so many studies already that show how suboptimal that is for their physiology and for their psychology, for both. And so there's a whole big movement in zoos, in the area around zoos, that field of working to, if we're going to keep these animals in captivity in this way, how can we make their environment as much like the environments that they evolved in as possible for their well-being,
Right.
right?
Right.
So our environment, the majority of modern humanity, at least, right, is in many ways, it's the equivalent of a zoo,
Mhm.
essentially, right? As you mentioned, the flat surfaces, right? So all the stuff you mentioned, yes, exactly. So if they can think of it, if people can think of it like that, that we are a wild animal, that
Mhm.
we've created civilization, and that's good. Nothing wrong with that. We wouldn't be able to talk like this. We wouldn't be able to have this beautiful device that lets us to transmit things like this. Maybe telepathically, I don't know. That might have, those shamans were onto something, 100,000 years ago. But point
Yeah.
being, we are in many ways living in a self-imposed captivity. I say self-imposed because yeah, okay, it's cultural, and you just kind of do what your culture tells you to do, unless you have some kind of crazy wild hair up your butt and you get some idea or you hear like somebody talking about it. But now you heard somebody talking about it, so now you have a choice. So now it's self-imposed to some degree. How much you want to believe it or agree with it, up to you. There's a lot of science, product of modernity, looking back on modernity and saying, hold on, all these things that we thought were like you need to protect yourself from it and it's bad and more technology is the answer. No, actually,
Mm.
all these natural things are actually the things that give us the most bang for our buck for
Right.
living a happy, healthy, strong life. To take a phrase from our friend Wim Hof, who's big on the cold immersion
Yeah.
side, but also other stuff, the barefoot side and all kinds of stuff, right? Um, so those were the five. Microbiome again, earthing slash barefoot, sun exposure, nature bathing, um, cold immersion. Now, each one of those, you take any of them, there's a lot of studies, 100+ studies for each one that says why physically and mentally and emotionally that's beneficial for you, right? Um, I'm going to pause so that this is not a RJ monologue. Before I go further, what what do you think about that, Nate? What do you?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like, yeah, we're basically saying the same thing with different
Yeah,
lenses.
yeah,
We're looking at the same idea from two different points of view, and
yeah,
yeah, the way you're saying it is going to be more relatable for people because a lot of people here, like you said, probably do one, two, three, maybe all five of these things in isolation, right?
right.
And why is training in nature better than the gym? Because you're getting all of these things at once. You're not getting it in isolation. You know, you're getting the cold exposure, the sun exposure, the air exposure, the ground exposure. You're getting exposure to all these natural elements, which give you all the benefits that each individual piece gives you all together at once, including boosting your microbiome. Just to come in contact with the dirt and breathing the fresh air is going to boost your microbiome. Um, Maybe people don't know that, but you're better off doing that than taking those fake, what do you call them,
The
probiotics.
clays and the probiotics. The clays is the big thing
Yeah,
now, which could
yeah,
still be good. I've been
yeah,
looking into it. It can still be good, right? But
yeah.
also, there's a lot
It's
of stuff for
a
free
lot of
that's just
times,
right there.
yeah, and a lot of times those things aren't even bioavailable. You're just taking,
Right.
50 billion probiotics and maybe you're getting a little bit. But now, there's some evidence to show that that might not actually be doing anything. Might just be like a little poke in a big pond, a little drop in a big pond. Um, so exposing yourself to nature, training in nature, you're gonna get all of this in a synergistic, holistic way. All of these benefits, and you're doing it all at once. You don't have to do. You don't have to have it your cold exposure time. You don't have to do sun exposure time. You don't have to make time to take your probiotics and spend money on those, and spend time on okay, today I'm gonna go barefooting and do all these things individually, all different times. We could stack them, which is a
Plus,
term I've learned from Katie Bowman. Stack them all at the same time.
yeah, plus all that, and plus the big elephant in the room, which is your so-called fitness, right? It's like
Fitness.
you're doing that's was the title, right? Why is nature better than the gym? So if you practice natural movement in nature, you're getting at least those 5 things, plus that thing that you do in the gym anyway, which is your fitness, right?
Right.
So then there's the environmental
And
complexity thing of fitness, which is like a whole other level, right? And actually,
the physiological benefits,
it's time
mental,
for me to go.
psychological benefits. Okay. Yeah,
I want to talk more
yeah,
about this. Can I
we
make a
could talk
quick
so much.
mention here?
Yeah.
Uh,
Go ahead.
so, microbiome, Zach Stein. Zach Stein, I apologize. That's not the guy. Zach Bush, that's the guy. Zach Stein, you should look up too, but for other things about integral education. But Zach Bush, Dr. Zach Bush, microbiome. Earthing / barefoot, Katie Bowman. Just type her in, type these people in with the thing that I talked about. So type in Zach Bush microbiome, type in Katie Bowman barefoot. You'll get lots of good stuff there. Sun
Whole body
exposure.
movement and
Yep.
Move Your DNA. Great books.
Yep. Sun exposure. Dr. Andrew, you don't have to put doctor. Sun exposure, Andrew Huberman. Just all the science you need there and more. Nature bathing, just type that in. You'll get it. There'll be a ton there. You'll find a ton of stuff. That's more about a general idea of putting yourself in nature.
There's a Japanese term that's not coming on top of mind. I think
Yeah.
Shirin Yoku or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the art of forest bathing.
Right.
So yeah, let's comment that in all those people. And is there one more?
Yeah. Cold immersion, again, Andrew Huberman, if you want the super hardcore scientific. And Wim Hof, if you want the super hardcore, crazy but charismatic and super actually been there, done that on the edge of it. All those. Or any of these, plus more Erwan Lacour, MoveNat, natural movement. Any of these I just mentioned are there. But if you want to be more specific, which can be good too, any of those people. So that's all I can say now. I must go. Come in and all crazy and have to go all crazy.
I know we could literally talk about all this stuff for hours. It's hard to compact it into 20, 30-minute videos, but we're going to be going over all this and integrating all this at Fight Move Flow. We're about a month out now, and today is the last chance to get your fast action mover perks. Just under an hour before we start that live prep session, so join us live, and we'll be recording it if you can make it live, so you can get your report.
And if you sign up now, I'll see you in Zoom in an hour.
Yes.
All right, brother.
Awesome.
A lot more to talk with you about. So let's talk more offline after soon. Let's talk soon. See you in an hour.
Yes.
Okay, peace.
See you guys. See you at Fight Move Flow.
See you. Peace.